Is it too early to be considering Viktor Gyökeres a flop, not just for the Arsenal, but for a Premier League striker in the age of modern football? I don't know. We're going to have that debate on the channel here today. Let's dive right in, guys. Ananda, you're the fellow Arsenal fan with me, man. I go back and forth of this mentally so much. It's probably one we talked about it before, one of the most polarizing topics across all fans of the Prem right now. And we're talking about title charges and having a striker who you just signed for somewhere between 60 and 70 million not producing. Is it too early? I mean, we're in January. The transfer window's not even over yet. Is it too early to be calling Gyökeres as a flop?
Well, let's start with the facts, right? Let's see what we can see on paper, and then let's start the conversation that way. And I'm sure everyone on this panel and everyone in the chat can kind of chew on it. But let's look at the facts, Jose. What's he done this year? What's his production? 5 goals in 19 matches played. Not a great. That's one out of every 4, right?
Not good.
Jose, he hasn't scored an open play goal in the league since November 1st against Burnley. He out of those 5 goals, 2 of them were penalties. And so you look at that alone, and what did Arsenal pay 60 million for? They paid 60 million to find a goal scorer, for a guy that can elevate them to make sure that they win the Premiership after consecutive seasons of being the bridesmaid and coming in second, right? And so if you look at it from that standpoint, he hasn't delivered. He has flopped so far. His production just hasn't been there. I mean, for paying that kind of money, you probably want a 1 to 2, one goal out of 2 instead of 1 out of 4 type of hit rate. I know he's adjusting to the Premier League from a division like Liga NOS, like the Portuguese first division, but for paying that type of top dollar, you expect a little bit more of a production. So from a stats standpoint, Jose, I'm going to start with that. Like, he has been a disappointment. I can't say anything less but that.
So we're just agreeing. Well, so you're looking at this and we're saying, okay, statistically, he's a flop. So does he have any redeeming qualities that still, I don't know, make this any kind of a positive signing? Do you see it changing?
Well, let's put it this way. He's a fresh, warm body at number 9 that we didn't have last year. We talked about this backstage a little bit, right? Whereas last year, you were really depending on Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, who, again, is notoriously been injured ever since he got injured in the World Cup during that World Cup year, or in the World Cup qualifiers, excuse me, that in that season, in the 2022-23 season. So you look at that and you say, okay, we needed another guy at number 9 because, Jose, to be honest with you, Mikel Merino has been our best option at number 9, I would say, for the past 6 to 8 months. He's looked the best. I mean, he's looked technically the best. He's gotten in the right positions. He's scored big goals. And so if you look at it from that standpoint, like, yeah, this year versus last year, I feel like Gyökeres is a warm body. He's a guy that we wanted to have. He's a guy that brings different qualities to this Arsenal front line. Mikel Merino and Havertz aren't guys that are really going to run the channels and run in and behind the back fours. That's what he does really well, or he did really well in Liga NOS. Like, when you see highlights of Gyökeres in the Portuguese first division, his superpower is literally running off the back line and challenging or dueling with those center backs and getting and breaking separation and scoring those goals, rifling in the back of the net. Again, facing those duels or going against those challenges, and the Arsenal don't have that type of dueling monster, that type of channel running center forward. And so that is something that he does bring to the Arsenal, to the Arsenal front 3, but we haven't seen the impact of that, like I said, in stats. Like, we just look at it from an eye test perspective, right? And so that's kind of the conundrum. It's like, I see fans out there in my timeline saying, he's a complete flop, he's a complete disaster, like, he doesn't get involved in the game enough, he has no production. But on the other side, you have fans saying we wouldn't be here without Viktor Gyokeres. Like, the team is much better with him. He does so much off the ball and so much running off the ball and creates so much space for other people or the other players. But it's like, okay, at the same time, like, did you sign a 60 million pound striker for that? Right. So I feel like the truth And this is what we had, the conversation we had before this is in the green room, which is like, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And that's where I kind of am with this. And I'm honestly frustrated in general with the conversation that's happening online because it's so polarizing. And I feel like it's a nuanced conversation that's honestly, it's probably somewhere down the middle, right?
I'll give my take in a second. Max, how do you feel about this, man? I know we've talked about this whole summer. I feel like we were chatting in the group chats about who was going to sign who, and the idea of Gyökeres even playing in the Prem. Bro, predictions were insane, and I think we're all, we all potentially all decently overestimated production. But from your perspective, knowing what you know about him now, would you have taken him at any point at United?
I would absolutely have taken him because of just who was managing us at the time. So there's a bit of a history there where a manager knows the exact quality of that player, and that player knows exactly what is needed from the manager. So yes, I would have taken Gyökeres. He's also in his prime, or at the very beginning of his prime. So you have that expectation of you already are at the high level of a goal scorer. And right now, United at this point in the summer, we were signing attackers because one of the biggest issues from the last few seasons was attacking. And obviously we situated that with Cunha, Sesko, and Bomo. And now our attacking has been, top 3 in the Premier League this season. But as for Gyökeres, I mean, there's always this thing when it comes to getting players outside the Prem. And although he played in the Championship, but the Championship's not the Prem. Like there's everyone keeps saying like, how the Premier League teams don't perform in Champions League, but Premier League is such a physical league, and I don't think players just ever expect how physical it is. And the different runs, the different areas of opportunity are completely different in every league. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm not shocked that he's not performing up to, standard, obviously for the fee that you guys bought him for. But at the same time, it's just there's a lot of pressure. You're the big guy coming into Arsenal, helping them to finally win the Premier League and potentially a Champions League, because you guys are one of the favorites to win at this point. So there's a lot of pressure, and you didn't start. He started off okay, I think, right? He started off with I think 2 goals in the first 2 months of the season with that. But I was agreeing with a lot of things Ananda said. There's a lot of things that he does off ball that are terrific, that gives players open space. He drags a lot of defenders with him. But once again, as Ananda said, I'm not paying you 60 million to do that. I can honestly, you can go find a cheaper, well, maybe not in Premier League, but you could probably find someone cheaper that can possibly do that. It's just for that price and for what his production has been within Sporting, the Champions League, even with Coventry back in the Championship, you expect more. So obviously his production is not what it should be. And it is so far a poor season. But like I said, we're in the business where players are expected to do as much as possible as soon as they get there. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And if you don't, you're going to be labeled a flop within 6 months. And that's just how it is these days.
That's fair. What I will say in his defense, though, is that one, I don't think the fee's ridiculous. I don't. I think if you compare it to so many other transfer fees, because I think so much of what the agendas are on the internet in general is due to how expensive some of these players were. Bro, 65 is not bad. Joao Pedro was slightly less expensive and has roughly the same production for Chelsea. You compare him to Isak. He's got twice as many goals as Isak, and he costs half the price. It's just one of those things. Vert, same thing, right? Although I won't compare him because he's not like an out and out striker, but he is used to bagging goals. He's not he's known for that from the Bundesliga. So I don't know. From the fee perspective, I'm not mad at that. I also am not terribly upset at the production there because I've watched so many of these games and I think back to opportunities where he has missed, and I'm like, bro, come on. It's like part of me is like, I get being unlucky, but there's just sometimes opportunities I need you to bury, and I will hold him to a standard there. Where I give him some leeway is the other context wrapped around this conversation, which is that this is an Arsenal team that has been so reliant upon its wingers for its production, so reliant on its wide play, on creating opportunities through Saka, Trossard, Martinelli that part of me somewhat believes that these guys just are so used to taking it down the line, cutting it back, going at their fullbacks 1v1, and then finding a last minute ball when they drive to the byline. And that's where I'll criticize Gyökeres and saying, listen, bro, you got to make the right runs. I don't think you necessarily have to be constantly tussling like it's the WWE with these center backs. I think you got to find a way to be sneaky and clever, and just, you know, shift the movement. But there's also another part of the service argument and whether or not it's actually there in a consistent way. I don't know, man. I think there's arguments, there's merit to both sides. I think personally it's too early to call him a flop. I think we got to see what happens. Now, again, the question I want to put out there is, if Arsenal win the title and he was part of that, and he was never, he wasn't part of the team for the last 3 years, they got nothing but second place. I mean, what are we talking about at that point?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, was
the
he the last
conversation? Yeah.
The pudding. And you know what? Like Ananda, my co-host is a stats guy on our show. But you know what? There's stuff that he, you know, that we got to also look at, right? First off, Jose, like you're absolutely right. Like, what the hell are we talking about? Like, he's 25 games in to his Arsenal career. I mean, he signed for 3 or 4 years at the very least. Like, give the lad a chance to do something, right? In those 25 games, he has 8 goals, 1 assist, right? So that 1 in 4 average actually turns out to be 1 in 3. You also got to look at the context of when he gets those goals, right? So he has 2 and 4 in the Champions League, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but Arsenal's never won the Champions League. So where do you want your main guy striking for a continental title, right? You want him scoring in the Champions League, and hopefully that translates over to the league. I mean, I just think, like you said, Jose, it's way too early. And then not only that, but this team wasn't built, just like you guys have been talking about, for this kind of striker. It's been built for wide and wing play. So it's going to take a moment for even the team to settle in around the striker, much less the striker to settle into the league and the team. There's got to be a trade-off. I mean, I see a player that's talented, that's probably eventually going to become good. I mean, maybe he won't get the 15 to 20 goals that everybody was expecting from him this year, but I would be willing to bet that he gets it next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rob, but you said, 8 goals in all comps. I mean, he's halfway there, right? We're halfway through the season. I mean, he could conceivably reach that 20 goal mark. I think going back to your earlier point, Jose, like I thought about what you said in terms of there's certain things or certain moments that you see that you're just like, oh man, like really? Like you think about those moments, Jose, that 2-1 home win against Brighton, second minute, he's clean on through. He's battling with Dunk. Again, we talk about the dueling capacity. Brilliantly evades Dunk one-on-one against Verbruggen. And all he had to do was just dink it. Yeah. And so for me, like we talk about this with strikers all the time, it's a confidence issue as well. And even Jose, I mean, we're recording this the day or 2 days after the Chelsea match. And you saw in that goal, he finally got a goal. And in the celebration, he just barely like went like this for like half a second and moved on. Like he was like, it was such a face of relief more than anything else, right? And so I think this is a guy.
Did you like seeing that? Like, did you like seeing him just like barely celebrate it, or like would you have preferred to be like him go off and be like like kind of like, you know what, like I'm that guy, like, and this is why, like what would you have preferred to have seen?
Well, one of the things that we know about Viktor Gyökeres, one of the things that the Arsenal media team did for his signing was, they usually do this with new signings, and they put a camera in terms of their journey to the Arsenal Colney, to London Colney and the training center, and go through all the behind the scenes stuff. And one of the things that they did was they put a video. Martin Odegaard did a video for him. And he says, hey, Martin said something along the lines of, hey, I need you to score goals for us this year, and we'll do good things. And then he puts down his iPad and he goes, yeah, now I just need him to feed me the ball. Now I need him to give me the assist. So mentality wise, he is that player. Like he always has a pretty stoic, I don't know if it's what is it called, Scandinavian thing, but it's like he has a pretty stoic face on him. He's always pretty serious. But I do like that type of mentality, Rob. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of Arsenal fans have faith in him is because I think, and probably one of the reasons that Mikel Arteta has faith in him is he has a very strong mentality. And that's what, he's a high character guy. That's one of the things that Arteta keeps talking about. Very high motor, very high character. winning mentality. And so I'm hoping that, manifests itself as he's going through this tough period.
Yeah, I will say that if he shows up in the key moments that will inevitably come in the second half of the season with City chasing us, I don't care what the volume of goals looks like at the end of the season. Don't give a shit. I think he just needs to now show up in those moments
for big time games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, we've had those moments in past seasons, right? And what does everybody say? What did everybody say about Kai when he had his great season, right? It's like it didn't matter because in those couple games where Arsenal needed to get over the line against Villa or against Fulham or against West Ham, it's like we missed glaring opportunities, lack of clinical finishing. The opportunities were there, but we just couldn't bury them. If he is just in those moments there, and it's we only get a handful of those, right? Like if he's just there and that's all the production we meaningfully see from him for the rest of the year, I'm not even mad.
Yeah, that conversation goes all the way back to Olivier Giroud. Jose, remember with that season when Leicester won the league? Yeah, we had that same conversation. So I think you're absolutely right. Can he show up? Can he show up to those big games, whether it's
quality,
Champions League,
not quantity?
Yeah, I mean, can he be like, look, if he ends up being a Divock Origi for this team, like for what he was for Liverpool,
bro, and I'm just trying to give you PTSD on the fucking show today. Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing?
But you know what? But you know what, Jose? I think we've got to reflect on that because I think we've got to find the reference point to right the wrongs, right? And that's the reference, and those are the reference points. And I'm hoping that Viktor Gyökeres is that guy that's going to show up, hopefully to kind of like fully like complete the story arc for him this season.
Yeah. Before we move on from this topic altogether, I do have one final question for Rob and Max. I mean, we talked a little bit about, and Max answered this question. I'd be also curious for Rob's take on it, whether or not you guys would have taken Gyökeres. It's crazy how the two biggest striker names in the market really were between Arsenal and United, and whether it was going to be Gyökeres or Šeško, and which way they would really go. I still don't know who got the better of the deal. Like, I
will say United have got a younger striker that's producing the same amount of goals right now. So
yeah, that's fair. But like Rob said too, like it's this season. Like, what if over the course of the 3-4 year contracts they sign, Gyökeres has like a title and a similar goal tally to show for it?
Yeah, but then we're getting into like hypotheticals, like
no, that's fair. That's
around them as well. And to answer your question, I wouldn't have taken Gyökeres, and for one simple reason. What did the Arsenal pay for him? Like 65, 70 mil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If he had gone to United, that would have been like 90 or 95 mil.
That's fair.
Everybody always gets United on the United tax, right? So if he had gone to United,
I think we're gonna get him for the same price, but we never went for him because he wanted to play Champions League.
You don't think they would have squeezed like an extra, like, especially remember when they started putting pressure on Bertha and Arsenal for the
board?
Yep.
The board.
Yeah, bro. I think the Glazers would have caved and paid an extra 10 to 15.
Emery and the board had an agreement about making sure we get players that want to play for United, and not just for a specific reason. Like you want to play for United, whether or not that we're in the Champions League, whether or not that we're in the position where we are at. Like you want to play for Manchester United. So we didn't send an offer for Gyökeres. So
I mean, fair, but I'm saying, had you, I think they would have squeezed an extra 10 to 15 million out of you. I just feel like you said, it's not a United tax, it's the Glazers tax. It's like, we know how these guys do business. If they can't get what they want, I mean, they should throw more money at it.
It's been the United tax before the Glazers too. Like this.
I mean, fair for good reason though, right? You also want to reinforce the champions for like next to nothing. If you're gonna make the champions stronger, you're gonna make something on the back end of that, right?
Yeah.
I get that, but I'm saying, like, I don't know. I just feel like you guys paid 80 million for Harry Maguire.
You're talking about PTSD.
Yeah, damn.
You're talking about PTSD.
I'm just saying,
nobody brought up Harry Maguire. Like, what?
I mean, next you're gonna bring up Anthony, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna bring.
I didn't bring the fidget spinner into this. I wanted to keep it like somewhat tame. I was saying, like, hey, like there's plenty of examples to point to.
But then it goes back to that conversation of just like we're just talking too early. Like, there's just so much media pressure that puts these guys into such low confidence where there's just nothing, there's no recovering from it. Like there's just like they just feel like they're like the worst player in the world, and that there's nothing that they do will make anything happen. Like they can score a goal and then the media will just spin it somehow in a different direction, saying, well, he should have been doing that for all season,
like
or it was a tap in. Yeah, that's just how this era is now. Like it's just whatever you do, if you are not producing how you're supposed to be producing at your price, you're just going to get hounded by the media.
Arsenal only beat Chelsea by 1. They didn't beat them by 2 or 3.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
It's it's like are they really title to contenders? They let up a last minute goal. Like what? There's just little niches that will just piss players off, and they read this shit. That's the problem. Like they read this shit.
That's that rage bait, baby. It's that rage bait. You know, it's like what it's never like. Well, it's very seldom like positive. It's always like, just like you guys said, you know, like, oh, you know, they should have won by much more than 1, or, you know, he scored a hat trick, but he should have been doing that all season because they paid $60 million for him, you know. But yeah, I mean, so right now we live in a reality in the football world where you guys are very right. Like everybody needs to be an instant success, and if you're not, you start to have these conversations 25 games in. Is this player a flop? And
especially for these players, I get one from the Bundesliga, one from Portugal. Liga knows is literally like the worst situation to be in. You're not going to have any kind of chance against the media.
Our 2 fan bases,
yeah, bro, literally like the most toxic fan bases.
The most toxic fan bases.
Yeah.
United fan base is literally split right now.
I've never seen embarrassed about being in the United fan base, man. Like, yeah, no, Max is right. Like, it's like being a United fan is like going to Thanksgiving dinner with those relatives you hate, but every single day.
But every day. So when those family members say that Šeško has paid off for you guys so far, so much so that you were okay taking the project striker versus in their prime striker?
He hasn't paid off so far. I mean, he's had moments, and so I see the vision. And like, just like with Gyökeres, like he's a talented player. He obviously has scored some very, very nice goals, but again, same problem with Arsenal. It's early, and he's not getting good service. Like he's just not like.
It's tough without Mbumo there right now. You know, like
I mean, it's tough when Bruno's not at the 10 where he should be.
That too.
That too. Yeah. So I mean, he's not getting the optimal system around him.
What are you gonna say about that, Max? Does he need that service from Bruno at the 10?
He doesn't. Bruno doesn't have to play. Listen, Bruno's having one of the best seasons of his career, and he's playing as a double player.
Yeah, he's playing deep.
He's playing deep.
He's a quality player.
I mean, he won't anymore.
Bruno doesn't need a position. He's that type of player where he could produce where you put him. It's just whether or not these guys can finish. That's just whether or not they're clinical. That's really what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you bought Šeško to be clinical this season, right? I think you bought him to learn the Premier League. Bro, he's a physical freak. Like he should fit in over time. I mean, it's just he has to get there.
And then what I see in our fan base. Sorry, what I was seeing in the first 5-6 months of the league. Why did we spend $70 million for a guy that can't score? I'm like, it's 2022. He's never played in this league before, and he's like. Like, what are you expecting? You expecting Haaland? Like, I just like you thought he was gonna be Haaland coming out of Dortmund? Like
probably. Like I think the comparisons were probably there. If we go back to the timeline, I'm willing to bet they were saying this is our baby Haaland. No?
Yeah, there was definitely Haaland comparisons, but here's the two realities, right? And is that the Arsenal is in first place. You know, even though Gyökeres hasn't scored a bunch, you guys are in first place. You know, there's a double on the foot, if not a treble, like still in the FA Cup, yeah. So a treble, a quadruple, like I don't know, right? It's all that's still on, right? So and Gyökeres hasn't been like an outright success, right? So imagine if he does come good, it just elevates that team that much more, right? Then you look at United, who's been piss poor for God who knows how long, and then that much more pressure gets dumped onto Šeško because it's like, look, we paid 80 million for you. Like Gyökeres was like 60, 65, 70, and then Šeško was like about 80. So like, hey, look, we paid 80 million for you. You're supposed to be that striker that brings United back to the promised land, and it hasn't happened. So that's the reality in which United fans live. And you know, we've been talking about time this whole time, right? But unfortunately with Šeško, Michael Carrick is going to need him to hit the ground running. Like United's future in the immediate depends on these players this year. Šeško is one of them. True. And unfortunately to him, a lot of people are going to be looking to him as quote unquote the savior. And when he can or cannot produce, like people are going to judge him unfairly.
That's a great segue. I think you're right. And it's crazy that I don't see a ton more conversation on it. I think it's more questions about what to expect with someone like Michael Carrick coming in from United now. But it's true. Like, he needs this group that has not been the most consistent. We've seen the ceiling, we've seen the floor, but just not consistent across the board. Now needs them at the most crucial point of the year to start being consistent under a new manager, under a new idea, a new philosophy, whatever that might be. Might be the United way with it being Michael Carrick, but we don't know. So, I mean, bro, what's Max, Rob, what's the expectation? Like, what are we going to see? Is it, do you feel it's actually going to work? Bro, it's a caretaker role. I understand. We could talk about maybe who you guys see towards the end of like being the long-term manager, but bro, you still have to have expectations, right? The season's not chalked.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There we go.
There's
There's no excuse. I don't care. I don't care if we fire Michael Carrick. That's just, there has to be standard for the board itself.
Yeah.
And in Neos, like there has to be a standard. You have to have a plan. Like, I don't want to bring up Madrid, but they fucking fired their coach and then got a new coach the next day. Like, it's just, there has to be a standard.
And he got shit on.
By a second
He
division
did.
team.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I could have saw that coming.
Bro, it's crazy. I didn't think that kind of low was possible, right?
I mean, I think it was gonna be like that, but like,
Brother, they have Jude Bellingham, Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe. You told me all these guys are losing. Granted, yes, some of the other players are out there, whatever,
what I
right?
heard
But
is that team had their starters on the bench too because
Yeah.
they knew they were gonna lose.
They were
Bro.
like, we're gonna lose. Let's play the B team, and then they won, blood.
bro, it is a new low for that club, and that's what I'm saying is that like, is United? There's no way this gets worse, right? Like, it can only go up. New
Yeah.
ground bounce.
No, it can get way worse. I mean,
It can
No
get
way.
worse.
It gets
every
worse.
time
It
as
can
a
get
United
worse.
fan, we've been like, it can't
Oh,
get any
man.
worse. Then you have like the
We say
indignity
this
of
every
Grimsby
year.
Town. Then you have like
Y'all are
the-
so jaded, bro. You're so jaded. It's crazy.
Oh no, but it's reality. It's like, look, it's like we've already.
PTSD.
It's like we talked about it last time, right? There's a deep rot in this club, and so many people have identified it and called it out, and they're unwilling to change. And since they're unwilling to change, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. And then they have no incentive to change because they're still making plata, papa. They're still making that money. So
The
the
issue will always be is that United fan base and the United ownership will never, ever, ever, ever accept a rebuild. So now we have to move on to saying, what's the plan if we're never going to do a rebuild? How do we get the best out of these players? Now, Michael Carrick comes in. To be honest, I didn't really watch too much of Middlesbrough. I know a little bit, but he did do pretty well in his first season with them. Got sacked the second season, which I think wasn't his fault because when you do well and within a team, all your players get sold. Owners at that level are not interested in buying players to replace those players. So now you're stuck trying to play with players that probably should have been starting in the first place. So I think obviously we're going to go back to a back four. I'm interested to see how he's going to change it though, because we've already know Kobe, Casemiro, Bruno does not work. So what's the plan? Now are we going to have what I would love to see if we're going to change something? Casemiro, Bruno, Cunha at the 10, and Bomo and Ahmad on the wings. Change something up. Because we're gonna how Carrick plays is almost a little bit kind of like Ruben Amorim. He wants to play from the back, but instead of playing more wings, he plays a lot more central, and he high level possession and attacking football. So it's not the same, but there's similarities into how he sets up the team. So we're gonna see how it is against City. I think we're very fortunate that City is also not in the greatest form in Premier League, at least. Luckily enough that I don't think any of their center backs, besides a couple of the young kids, are healthy, and they've been struggling. So this is going to be interesting to see how he sets up the team. I think Carrick's gonna be fine. I'd rather Carrick than old. I don't think it's ever wise to bring back your ex. Especially with how it went the last time. Like, I don't see why you would ever think that was okay, but anyway.
Not
But
toxic
Carrick,
at all. Yeah,
it's,
actually, yeah.
it's like, but like Carrick, I mean, Carrick had like a short stint with United, and
Yeah,
from what we've seen,
bro, this is
Yeah.
my favorite. This is the favorite post I've seen
I
about
know,
Carrick so far.
bro, they
This
do
is
this
amazing.
all the time. Dog,
This is amazing.
every time a manager gets fired, it's like the next day is like, man, breath of fresh air. I've never seen the training ground like this in my life. I'm just like, you said this the last 2 times the manager gotten fired. Like, there's just no way it's the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
rage bait.
Well, Max, going to your point earlier, for you guys to chew on when Carrick, because I don't know how many games he was in charge of caretaker in 21-22.
I think it was
2,
either-
I
It was 2
believe.
games.
It was 2 or 3.
So he played a 4-4-2 diamond with Rashford and Sancho as the 2 strikers, with Bruno at the 10, Fred McTominay and Matic. So he could deploy something like that as well with Kobe, fitting in all those players that you talked about in the midfield.
It's kind of like what Max said. Like his system isn't going to look too dissimilar to even Amarim's at times, because even Michael Carrick has gone on record and said like the system doesn't really matter because you're fluid throughout the match, right? Carrick during his time with Middlesbrough, I kind of feel like they were right to go with Carrick over Ole. Because Ole's expectations were different. He openly asked for his kind of like reward if he got Champions League football to be given the job permanently, whereas Carrick understands that this is a caretaker interim job to get United to where they need to be, right? So with that in mind, we look at his CV at Middlesbrough. When he took over Middlesbrough, they were 22nd in the championship. Then he just narrowly missed out on promotion. They lost in the playoffs first year. Unfortunately, then it was an 8th place finish and a 10th place finish, and then he got sacked, right? Over the long term, it didn't really work. But you don't need Michael Carrick to work in the long term, because he came in to Middlesbrough, took them from 22nd, identified their weaknesses, their faults, and then took them all the way basically to the playoff championship, one step away from the Premiership, right? So you have the man for this particular moment, I think, because he's not going to expect the job full time unless things get absolutely crazy and Michael Carrick comes in and these players are like, hey, we're playing AC Milan in the 90s, which I don't expect to happen.
Shit.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Yeah, exactly. I don't expect that to happen, right? But I mean, I suppose there's crazier things that have happened.
Milan in the 90s, Serie A in the 90s was wild.
Yeah, I agree.
Best leagues in the world, yeah, 100%.
But yeah, he has that United DNA in him, quote unquote, whatever that means. He knows the players already. He knows a lot of them, and he knows tactically how to work. And then he's also somewhat of a man manager, so he kind of like bridges the divide, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, but unfortunately to him, he's just been given a bad hand. I mean, his predecessor called this team the worst United team he's in history. So
yeah,
good luck to him.
His last game managed for United was a win over the Arsenal at home.
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
Bruno looks so young. It's crazy.
Rob, Max, I was going to ask you guys too, like kind of going off of your last point there, Rob, are you as United fans, as United supporters, happy to see that after these experiments with, I would say, guys or men that were outside of the United brass, so Ragnick and Ten Hag, etc., that you are now, I understand it's a caretaker position, but are you happy to see someone that understands the United way, that sort of has that United DNA, or it doesn't really matter with the ownership situation at the moment, or kind of what do you guys stand with that?
I mean, you bring in Michael Carrick, who Max said it's never good to bring in your ex. Well, Michael Carrick is an ex too. I mean, even though he manages 2 games, like I'll say this with greatest respect to Michael Carrick, and not to get too ahead of myself, like he knows as well where the rot is in this organization, in this team, and he's complicit in it. I mean, he's not going to go outside in his 17 games in charge and be like, these players are shit, like these other managers have, even though we have eyes to see that these players aren't up to the standard of the United way. I mean, but that's what he's there for. He's just there to be an interim manager. Like I said, don't rock the boat, get him over to the next chapter.
And to be honest, I'm thinking that the reasons why we gone to or Carrick is because outside probably of those 2 or anyone, like any manager from United history, there's very few managers that are yes managers at this point in football. a lot of these managers want to have control. There's going to be they made it very strict by Stagnant and Marine. Like, there's no control. We control. You're just going to be the head coach. So, what managers outside of Manchester United that's going to be a yes man? And it's Michael Carrick. So if Michael Carrick succeeds and we get Champions League, I'm not going to be surprised if they offer him a full-time position.
Yeah.
Ole 2.0.
Hey,
Bro,
look,
you guys are Real Madrid, by the way. Y'all are the same club.
Oh, hell yeah. Except that Madrid actually can win some trophies.
Yeah. It won something, right?
Well, major trophies. But
no, hey, Ten Hag has trophies in his.
Yeah, he got an FA Cup. He got an FA Cup over City. I always love.
I fired him too.
Yep.
Fired him.
So what you're saying, Max, is Roy Keane ain't stepping in the door to coaching.
I wish Roy Keane would, because he has more credentials than
Johnny Evans.
Let him. They would never let it happen.
There it is.
There's an issue with why is Evans on first team? Like, that just always doesn't make sense to me. Even Roy Keane's like, why is he there? Like, you got, I don't know if he got sacked or he just left, but he left his position as the scout, and now you're back as first team. What have you earned to be a first team coach? Like, there's the issues that I have. Like, what's the standard? Now we're just hiring
loyalty.
Loyalty is great.
He's one of the boys.
Yeah,
again,
one of the boys.
I
mean, bro, like,
Fletcher.
how long he stuck around. He came back as a player. He filled a gap at a crucial time. Like, I just keep rewarding loyalty.
We had a lot of the same thing with Fletcher, and Fletcher started off at the bottom of the barrel. So it'd be the same with John Evans. But like, that's one of the things I'm just so confused about. But I'm one of the United fans that it doesn't matter who comes in as the manager. I will back that manager until it's time to not back that manager. And
all you can do.
I will back Carrick until it's his last day or maybe the future. So
yeah, man, I'm hoping that tweet was right, that these players were like, man, he's visionary, and like they'll play their asses off for him. I mean, I really hope that's the truth, man. But most likely it's not.
I'm intrigued to see how Mbobo and Ahmad come back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we got back from AFCON and they're like, what happened around here?
It's a different world now. It's a different world we live in.
and Maz is still over there trying to win the AFCON. So like, it's just like, he's probably like, I don't even want to go back. I'm trying to stay here.
They're just updating him over the phone. Like, bro, what? Yeah. Like, what just happened?
He's like, man, this group chat is crazy right now.
Yeah, for real, man. In Michael Carrick's last stint as caretaker of Manchester United, he won at Villarreal to secure the round of 16 place in the Champions League, secured a 1-1 draw against league leaders Chelsea at the Bridge, and beat rivals Arsenal 3-2 at home. It was not a bad stint. It wasn't. So very small sample size, but not a bad stint. So again, man, United fans, I'm really curious. If you stuck around for sure this long in the video, let us know, man. At some point, I think it'd be great, and we'll maybe bring it to life, but to do a tier list of who's really kind of the best options for United as the season continues to go on, and we learn more about Carrick, manager options as full-time senior managers kind of heading into next season, to the summer window and next season. I think that'd be a great idea for a video just to get everybody's thoughts, man. There's so many rumors out there too. This probably could be a tier list that's 20 deep, like, bro, everybody from De Zerbi to I saw all kinds. Eddie Howe potentially leaving Newcastle, Glasner. There's so many. Mourinho coming back, bro. I've seen everything on the timeline. Everything.
We've mentioned Roy Keane. Roy Keane's pick was Eddie Howe, which I thought was interesting. Look, I'm just gonna put this out there. On FC 26, I've had United win the Champions League, so like I'm saying.
I love that. I love that.
My FC 26 journey, it took me a year and a half to get
it. You got to overhaul it.
He went realistic mode. He went realistic mode.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I heard Xabi Alonso's looking for a new job. I don't know. He might want to.
Bro, I'm sorry. I cannot see Xabi Alonso coaching United. I just can't see
Bro,
it.
He's
either,
rolling, waiting for Liverpool.
That's what I'm saying. He's so Liverpool.
Rolling.
I just can't see United. I can't see any of the club in the Prem outside of Liverpool. But bro, I think there's, if Carrick can prove something here, doing something his way, it gets really, really interesting for who can come next.
I want to put.
I will leave you guys with this though. the hardest place to be in is if he does so. If he does okay, enough to make you think there's potential for next season.
If he gets so it's like if
Yeah.
we have our expectations of finishing Europe, he exceeds by getting us into Champions League. Probably the floor would be the Conference League, and now that's the so.
Yeah, you're right. So if he gets like that 6th, 7th place spot, you're like, can he do it with more money, with more time? And then you start to slowly convince yourself as a fan that it's possible until you get shit on again later on when he inevitably goes down in flames. But and again, this is just based off
and then
the
they bring
history.
Ole back in as a
And then they bring Ole back in for the vibes, then United's back to being Vibes FC.
On you, Chat GPT, baby.
Man.
Chat.
But the goal has to be Champions League, though, guys. You're only 3 points behind Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool is not.
The top 4 race is
not a good
so
team
tight.
this year.
Bro,
Which was why I was mad to sack Amarim.
We talked about this the last show. I was like, we're at this point where you can win a game and be 4th, or you can lose a game and be 14th.
That's crazy. It's wild, bro. But like there's and not everybody. Max said it yourself. City's not even that consistent right now. Like, they seem to get the big games over the line, but they still drop to some of the middling teams. Like, I don't know. I just feel like
so frustrating because like there's we keep drawing every time there's a chance to get top 4.
Yeah,
like
they've missed so many opportunities.
And the issue is that we've always been the primetime game, so it's always the Monday games, or it's the first game of the.
Everybody's always watching.
So everyone's always watching. So I'm like, I just know we're fucking drunk.
What's crazy though is that
all your
you guys
friends are texting you,
bro. You're not gonna let Brentford finish ahead of you though, right? Like we're not doing that. No, we're not.
Well,
we're not doing that.
Can I bring this conversation
of the year at this point?
I was gonna say,
we might get him.
Can I bring this conversation full circle for a second? Because I think we talked about United's schedule the next couple of weeks. It's pretty rough, right? But I will tell you this as an Arsenal fan, I feel like the new manager bounce for United is going to be real. And Jose, I'm worried about that game. I'm honestly worried about that.
I'm always worried about United. They could be playing like shit and they turn up against Arsenal. It's how it always is.
Yeah, but our games are always close.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what's happening with United.
Barely won 1-0 at Old Trafford. So
when we play, it doesn't matter, bro. And every year it's slightly controversial. It's super tight. Like I expect it. Nothing changes regardless.
The only time our players actually play like a prime Barca team is literally against Arsenal.
Stupid, bro. I will say against City, you have your moments as well. Kind of how Spurs has City's number.
I will say we've actually had City's number for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Besides September, when we lost 3-0.
Honestly, since Ten Hag got shellacked like 6-3, since that result, yes, like it's been just pretty much United. Kind of crazy to think, but. Yeah, man, look, it's the gauntlet, but if you make it out more so on the positive side, this is what I'm saying. Like, if he does even 10, 15, 20% better than you guys thought he would, it's hard questions to answer at the end of the season. Really, really becomes difficult.
I'm telling you right now, it ain't that hard for the board. I'm telling you guys, it's going to happen. Like, I already see this. Why do I already see this happening at Carrick? If he does well enough, he's gonna be given the job.
Yeah, no, look, Carrick's gonna come out. He's gonna like win 3 of his next 4 or something like that, and then the board's gonna panic and be like, let's give him a contract. I mean, it's
because any other manager's gonna cost a shit ton of money. Carrick's not gonna cost shit.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Until they sack him.
You want Eddie Howe? He's gonna ask for more money. You want Tuchel? He's gonna ask for a shit ton of money. You want De Zerbi?
Control as well.
Years ago and control.
Exactly.
Yeah, good luck. Enrique, we can't get Enrique because Enrique's gonna be like, I want fucking 15 players, and United's gonna be like, no. So he's not coming.
Tuchel will be so perfect for you guys, though. I really do believe that.
But my issue with Tuchel is he just has a steady. Like he comes to the place, does well for a year or two, and then he's gone. So what's the problem?
Because he starts demanding things, he starts wanting things his way, but I think he's kind of earned it. Like part of me is like, bro, do you not want to fucking win? Like you want to win. This guy's doing it. Like do it. I don't know. I mean,
happened at Chelsea. I'm so confused on why he just can't like hold a steady manager job when I think
he's contrarian.
He's a top 10 manager.
He's contrarian. I think he pushes back by nature, but I think for that reason, he gets the best out of his players more often than not. And the ones he doesn't, he seems to find a way to get the front office to move them on decently quickly. I mean, I feel like he is what most managers aspire to be. I mean, and look what he's probably gonna do with England, bro. I bet you England does well at the World Cup. And so I bet you they do it while leaving Jude Bellingham at home. And that's going to be a Tuchel decision. And I feel like again, if to have those difficult moments be owned by someone who's not scared of that spotlight is the manager Manchester United needs.
Yeah.
But do we get that? I don't know. I think it's more about the fact that he's not a yes man. But him wanting resources, him wanting power, I think you want a manager who has the bravado to make those kinds of demands because he knows what it takes to win. I don't know.
Okay.
That's my point. That's my
the last manager.
Yeah.
Bro, but that's completely different. When Tuchel only has one way of playing and is making Gary Neville comparisons in fucking press conferences, then we'll have that conversation. But I don't know. I feel like Tuchel's different breed. I'll put it this way: Barca is the love of my life as a club, and when Hansi Flick inevitably moves on, I would take Tuchel in a heartbeat. So I don't know.
Not Marquez.
No, Rafa, love you, brother. Love you. Definitely not. It'd be like Arbeloa returning to Real Madrid, ironically enough. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. But look, let's before we end it, predictions, man. We gotta do it the right way. Predictions for the Manchester derby. Really, really curious how we feeling about that with Carrick's first game as caretaker. Lads, how we feel? What's prediction?
3-2 United.
3-2 United would be a banger game. I would love that. I love every minute of that.
Dang, I might even have to wake up for that.
I will want to mention this. The last time I've seen United win a 7:00 Eastern time game was against City. So,
and that's worth that 4 a.m. wake up, right, Rob?
Yeah.
4 a.m. wake up.
Yeah, it's 4:30 is what I saw on Font Mob right now, and I was like, "Eesh!" Like I don't know if I'm down to wake up just to see these fools lose, right?
Because that's the last time you saw them win too, because we haven't won a 7:30 game since probably 2-3 years ago when I was living in Hoboken. So yeah.
No,
bro.
I tell this to Ananda all the time, right? Like, all you can do is rely on what you've seen these players do already. And I've seen these players for the past couple of seasons, and I know who they are, and I know what they can produce, because we've seen it. And I'm not expecting anything great. Like, sure, there's going to be a new manager bump. Maybe they'll play a little bit more attractive soccer, but I'm expecting a tie in this one, maybe like a 1-1 or 2-2. I mean, if they do win, like I'll be shocked. Just because the level of footy is not there. It's just not. And you're going to go from Ruben Amorim, who was trying to impose one system or philosophy, to another one who's going to try to have them play a different way. And it's like this team is in a state of flux. There's no consistency, and that doesn't breed well for consistent soccer, consistent footy.
Yeah, I think it's going to go like the Brighton game with more goals. That's what I think. I think it's going to feel like that, where it's like City will probably dominate for massive stretches of the game, and out of nowhere, United's just going to bang one, and it's just going to be like, oh my god, like they're gonna find a way to do it again. I think 2-2 was my pick. I see City dropping points.
Yeah,
it's going to be crazy.
I would love it for you guys to take points off of City. That would be wonderful. But yeah, no, I think it's a high score game because remember,
but we'll beat the Arsenal though.
City's back line. City's back line is completely decimated too. So I mean I could see 2-2, 3-3 easy.
3-3 would be a fucking banger game, man. I 6 goals in the game, I'd freak out. Like
City's back line is not good, guys. It's completely decimated.
Yeah, there's United, so it's all good.
But again, Carrick has to game plan for this. He has to game plan for this. There has to be something that he has ready to attack that back line quickly in transition.
You're gonna know how the game goes from the starting lineup.
That back line's small. So
bro, they're missing so many pieces right now, bro. I mean, you guys could go at them, and I feel like Shesko could have a field day if he's up for it. Like, it's just
I
one
wouldn't
of those.
be surprised if we see if Harry Maguire is fit enough to start. I would not be surprised about it if we see Maguire to start alongside.
Yeah, he does well against City.
That was Carrick's captain when they beat Arsenal 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But Manchester Derby, 7:30 Eastern. 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific time. I'm getting up, bro. I don't really care. I'm going to be up ready for that game. It's going to be good.
You're a dad, so you're good.
Yeah. I'm up already.
You're up already.
I'm up already. But bro, it'll get me nice, ready, comfy for everything. I think Arsenal take on Forest at the weekend. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a great weekend. But again, in the comments, man, let us know how you feel about the topics. Again, we talked to Gyökeres, Šeško, Carrick, everything in between. Bro, I love going back to more of this. Arsenal versus United, in my opinion, is the greatest, right? I don't care what Liverpool fans say, don't care what City fans say, don't care what anybody else fans have to say. I think this is the greatest rivalry, in my opinion, in the Premier League. And we're not even technically like crosstown rivals or anything. It's just always a juicy matchup. So I love having fans from both sides here. But again, man, in the description notes down below, I'm having everybody's links down there. I know I didn't tee up an intro as usual, but again, Robin and Nana from La Cuna Galaxiana, their stuff's going to be down below. Max back on the channel. He's doing a lot more Prem content. His Twitter's handles down below as well. Go check him out, man. And keep coming back. We have more topics. Anything you want us to see us cover, drop it in the comments down below. And again, man, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, do all those things, and we'll catch you guys next time.